college.
Yeah, yeah. Did you have any heroes? Any tennis heroes at all? Anybody you aspired to as a young?
Well, I'm left-handed, so
Right.
I always sort of looked up to the left-handers,
Yeah,
and
sure.
one being Rod Laver and another being Tony Roach.
Right, of course, yeah.
Players back in those days.
Yeah, very good. Just moving on to your professional career in more detail, you entered during the tennis period, often described as the boom years by the British and American media, and particularly television came a lot more into tennis in the 70s, and the popularity of the sport was increased worldwide. You had contemporaries such as Nastase, Connors, McEnroe, Borg, huge names in tennis along with yourself. Just, what was it like being on the tour in those days with those guys?
Well, it was fantastic. I mean, they're with some of the biggest names in the history of the game, and they're also great guys. When I first turned pro, my partner, or I was the partner of Arthur Ashe for about 5 years. And as such, being around him, I was around Stan Smith a lot. He was one of the best guys ever. I also knew Eli Nastase pretty well, Laver, Rosewall, Fred Stolle, John Newcomb, Roach. And as well as going through my career, I mean, I grew up with Connors. Then also you have Lendl, Wielander, Borg, McEnroe. Played on a Davis Cup team with McEnroe in 1981 when we won the Davis Cup. So when you think about it, the cross-section of players that I've played with is pretty amazing.
It is, yeah. I'll talk a little about your playing style. Like most of the top players, I think you've got a very unique playing style, which is great to see, and very compact and efficient serve. And you became famous for this particular shot. Now, given that you were in the world's top 10, did you sort of resent the attention that your serve got? I mean, for example, the rest of your game must have been pretty good as well. But people always refer to Roscoe Tanner's serve.
People ask me that question, and quite frankly, anytime somebody says you got anything that's the best in the world, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, sure.
I knew that in tennis you can only serve half the game, so you got to win.
Yeah.
In order to win, you got to do something on their serve. So I knew I was okay. But when they say you got the best in the history of the game, they can say it all they want.
Yeah, great. Okay, coming from the States, obviously you played Wimbledon for the first time in the 70s, and obviously we're very close to Wimbledon. It's a big tournament for us, and it is worldwide. How did you feel about the tournament? Do you think it was fairly regimental and stuffy in those days, or did you enjoy it? Was it a shock for you? Or?
Well, I remember that when I first got over, as an American, you tend to, when something happens, you tend to argue a little bit. I wasn't on any McEnroe or anything, but I tend to speak up for myself. Yeah. And I quickly learned at Wimbledon you don't win any arguments. So there's no point arguing. All you're doing is wasting air.
Right.
Although one time there was a story where I did win. I don't necessarily didn't win, but the umpire agreed with me.
Right.
We were playing. It was one of the outside courts. I forget which one, but I was playing John Fitzgerald.
Right.
And on the hillside, right beside Wimbledon, now it's a bunch of houses, but there was a giant boom. It wasn't raining yet. But there was a giant boom of lightning. And I saw it, and that was in the days of metal rackets. And when you're playing on an outside court, you had to stay on that court until they hung 2 white balls as a signal out over the main scoreboard. When they did, that was a signal from the referee that all the courts were to come in. Well, in this instance, obviously the 2 white balls weren't out yet.
Okay.
But I saw that lightning, and I thought, and actually, if I'd gone off the court, breaking that rule, then you can be defaulted and not allowed to ever play there again.
Really?
So I thought, well, I got to say it to the guy. So I said to the umpire on our court, look, I just saw on that hill right there, not far from us, a giant bolt of lightning, and I've got a metal racket, and I know you're going to default me, and I know I may never play again, but I can at least play someplace else, and I won't be dead. So I think I'm going to walk off the court.
Yeah.
The umpire, at that point, turned around and looked at the same hill, and another bolt of lightning hit almost in the same place. And then I said to him, and by the way, you're sitting in a metal chair. And he looked at me and he goes, Mr. Tanner, I think you're showing the better part of discretion. We'll all go. Boom, he's down out of the chair and he's gone before I was.
Excellent. Yeah.
And after that, hail came down and it was 2 inches of hail on the court.
Really? Yeah. Good grief. Yeah.